some big news sort of developing, maybe a little early, but we think it's going to be a lot going on with this. And this is coming out of Charlotte and the Carolina Panthers. And I know, Miles, you got the story there.
Absolutely. Charlotte's native son, I think the most beloved Carolina Panther of all time. I think it's safe to say that Luke Kuechly has some news. He was named the Legends captain for the NFC for the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas this past few weeks ago. And during that, he was asked a couple of questions by some reporters, in which Kuechly reportedly said, "I missed the game," which that's understandable. Everyone, an NFL player, they're gonna miss the game especially if you had an early exit like Kuechly did. And he talked about working with the Panthers and the scouting department over 2020, how much fun it was, how much he learned. He wanted to do a few things. He wanted to take some trips, some vacations, but he got that all under his belt. Now he is saying, now that the fall is over, the football season and the new season is coming around, he says, I have to put my nose down, figure out what I'm going to do next. And whatever next means doesn't really say. And there are some people that are speculating, is he coming back to the Carolina Panthers as a player? Is he coming back as a coach? What capacity could that be? I think the whole story is very interesting. And quite frankly, he looks like he could still play. What do you think about all of this?
So, a former athlete, and especially a top professional athlete like Kuechly was, that competitive urge, that desire, that never leaves you. That's always going to be sitting in there. And like you said, once he was able to kind of relax, take the vacations, and kind of separate a little bit, he's ready to get back, roaring and competing. I don't know if Kuechly can still play. Obviously, the injuries that ended his career, I'm sure that's still a factor. The fact that he's involved in the organization is interesting. And I think with a guy like Kuechly, the comparison I keep making that comes back to mind is Peyton Manning with what he's done. And now Peyton Manning's linked to potentially being an owner of the Broncos. Not saying Kuechly's going to, get in with David Tepper and own a piece of Carolina, but don't be surprised. And I think the Panthers would be smart to do this. If Kuechly gets involved, maybe from a front office, administrative level, potentially a coach, I think we're going to see a lot more of Luke Kuechly in that organization.
That is pretty good. One thing I have saw is coaching wise, like D coordinators. It reminds me of like a Drod Mayo or somebody like that. Came back, great linebacker. Maybe starts as a linebacker coach, works his way up to defensive coordinator. I think that would be a really cool thing for Carolina Panthers, who've been known for having strong linebacker play. They have Luke Kuechly, they have Thomas Davis, all kinds of great players back there in their young teamhood. But I really do think, the concussions, they were bad. But there's a chance maybe he kicks the old tires, sees what he has. Here's how I see the scenario playing out. Panthers sign Kuechly to a low 1-year deal, low risk 1-year deal. He comes back, gives it his all during training camp, and that's what either he's good enough and he makes the team, or he comes back, goes through training camp, figures out I'm not good. This isn't good for me anymore. And then he retires to a coaching role. So either way, I think those are the two options that are going to happen here. And I'd like to see either of them. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I think it would be, and I think it'd be good for Carolina. And I think you bring up something interesting there. And I think getting a guy like Kuechly as close to the players as possible is big. And here's why. The Carolina Panthers have never won a Super Bowl in their organization's history. Now, they're relatively young, obviously, been around only since 1995. But when you're an organization like Carolina, like Houston, like Arizona, where you don't have, a history and a culture of success, right? If you look at the Ravens, right? They're a great example, or the Patriots. You go in that locker room and there's teams and players that have won rings and coaches that have won rings and have done that before and know what it's like to be successful in the NFL. You go to the Panthers right now, there's nobody in the locker room like that. Nobody's there to kind of not necessarily teach, but set the example, the standard for what winning is like. And, what you have to do every day, to be a winner. And while Kuechly never won a Super Bowl, he got him there. He was a great player when he played. He had the right mentality, right mindset. I think getting Kuechly into the fold player then coach. I think, is a natural transition that could happen pretty seamlessly, to be honest with you. Could be a good like culture shift for that Carolina Panther team to kind of, bring in that kind of winning attitude, that mindset that needs to happen. Because let's be honest, who in Carolina has been around a winning or a championship team? I mean, and there's no like past history that they can really look on. It's not like they're the Packers or something like that, where they have so much esteemed glory that you can just feel the vibrancy of winning or something like that. I think getting Kuechly in the fold would really kind of bring the right culture to that team.